Just in my last video, I talked about how Grand Theft Auto 6 was probably one of the more anticipated games. One of my audience members went ahead and said Half-Life 3 would probably be more anticipated because in the time that it was being waited for, or nobody even knew it was a thing until just more recently, and maybe possibly teases after Alyx, GTA 6, GTA 4, 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2 have basically been scheduled before we even are seeing a Half-Life 3 release. Insider Gaming apparently went ahead and talked about the game moving into its final, phase of testing. And this is very interesting. Now, here's something crazy. I've seen a lot of people say things like PC doesn't have exclusives or PC doesn't have, in quote, great exclusives. When you have to say that a game is great because the CEO of the company says the game is great, I notice Herman Holst and all these folk over at PlayStation and even Phil Spencer will throw out great exclusives. That is a subjective measure. I was talking to an audience member yesterday who was saying that, they thought Gotham Knights had bad design. In that, thread of the conversation, I said, well, the funny thing about Gotham Knights is a lot of the design elements in Gotham Knights have been praised in other video games. You could say maybe execution in Gotham Knights in many areas was not up to par. But when I started naming some games, this, audience member of mine who's played a lot of games, Aquapendulum, I finally found your backlog profile. That thing it was like pulling teeth. They've played a lot of games, but they haven't played a lot of the games that require repetition and grinding. The Division, Destiny, Diablo, World of Warcraft. A lot of those RPGs, even some of the, not even hardcore MMOs, still require for you to be able to get your player to a power level that you choose to. It's a fantasy grind. So when we look at, say, the greatness of a game, it's actually in the audience that it appeals to. Half-Life, on the other hand, is one of those really interesting games where the developers made the game and it made an impression on the people who've played it. So its anticipation truly is high. Now, let's go ahead and read this article that was written here on Insider Gaming by Tom Henderson. It says, the highly anticipated Half-Life 3 has moved to its next round of playtesting. It's been claimed. Insider, today basically is putting that in place. That's according to Gabe Follower, who has a history of leaking similar information on previous Valve titles, most notably Deadlock last year. According to Gabe Follower, his sources have revealed that Half-Life 3, or HLX, started playtests for family and friends of Valve developers in the past few months. While the information doesn't give us much information into what Half-Life 3 entails, it does tell us that the project is now at a fundamental stage of development and could see the game delayed further if it does not resonate well with the new playtests. Previously, Valve delayed Half-Life Alyx, its VR game, for 1 year to rewrite the story. Deadlock, Valve's upcoming team-based multiplayer shooter, also saw several delays due to feedback during these sessions. The playtests do tell us what Half-Life 3 could be nearing its announcement soon, though presumably sometime between 2025. If not, it's entirely possible that the game could leak online due to game now being accessed by more people. As for when Half-Life 3 will be released, it remains to be seen, but Gabe Follower claims and suggests that the game is progressing well, blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the crazy thing. We've looked at a lot of different, developers and studios get a lot of feedback from outside and have never gone back to make changes to the game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is one of notable, I would say timelines in terms of what we saw recently. We've also seen a game like Concord where its early access, did not necessarily do well. Instead, PlayStation decided that they were going to go ahead and shut the studio down and close the game down. I think this is what makes Valve's own approach very unique in terms of when we're talking about what a game will look like. And many people, don't necessarily understand a lot of the PC ecosystem. So when they look at Steam and they look at all kinds of stuff, it's interesting for them to say things like, oh, PC doesn't have any exclusives. Well, that's because a lot of third-party publishers are existing on PC, and there are very few first-party developers out there. There's literally Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox. So how else are you going to basically deal with that? And Valve was going to be one of those players, and they made Steam as a way for them to sell their own game. In doing so, their service was actually tight, and a lot of companies saw that. And by sheer, necessity, they became a third-party platform. And I think they're the ones that really do run a third-party platform in the most pro-consumer way. And this is what I think all of the others can actually take note from. But in terms of, anticipation, in terms of what this is going to look like, I strongly believe that this is definitely where a lot of publishers and a lot of game development studios can actually take note from. But anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I thought this was a very interesting one. Half-Life is quite symbolic in terms of gaming as a whole, especially PC gaming. I came into PC gaming in 2018. Well, I came back to PC gaming in 2016. And so for me, Half-Life was something that I already by default missed. I mean, I'm a Dead to Rights on PC guy. And Commandos. Then I took a break and was playing, anywhere I could find a game to play because I didn't have a gaming system of my own. And so when I came back, Half-Life was basically something that, I wasn't even hearing a lot of the conversations about. Okay. Talk to me in the comment section. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.